morning, good evening. How is that timing for that do it, Doug? Well done. Well done. It has been an absolutely massive weekend for content creators. It's Monday morning here in Australia, but I know for some of you it's still Sunday night. So I know some of you have been impacted more than others over this weekend and this chaos. And while ByteDance shutting down and reopening has been chaotic and hugely disruptive, I really hope that this like 12, 14 hour thing that happened is going to teach creators that we cannot rely on one single platform and one single set of tools. Where are your backups, people? Like, what are your alternatives? What are you doing? So believe it or not, I'd already decided my topic Friday, right? Like all your eggs in one basket. And it was from a slightly different perspective. But before we jump in, today is a 3-beverage stream. I got my tea, my coffee, and some water. We're going to be going off, and I'm probably going to be upsetting some people with my opinions from another country. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So first things first, I got to crack into the coffee. I've only had one this morning. This is my number 2. And I made it just a dash hot because I didn't think I'd crack into it quite so early. All right. Doug says he hasn't been on Twitter yet. Livestream says, time to light it up. The zombie TikTok has risen from the dead. It has. And Doug's bringing on the Yetis. Bring on the Yetis. The Yetis are the lifesavers of my live streams. Honestly, it was a total game changer when I just started using some cheaper alternatives. And then when I got my first Yeti, I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm in love. And now I have a collection. So, you know, Yetis are awesome. Not an affiliate because I can't be because I'm Australian, apparently. Anyway, so this weekend has been crazy. I've been watching people crying and you know, creating these videos of like despair and all this sort of stuff. And I saw one such a classy farewell to TikTok, and I was just like, oh my gosh, more people need to watch this. It's the guy, what's his name? The guy who does all the, like, he finds the really old recipes and then makes them and then lets you know if it was really bad or not. I can't think of his name. His TikTok farewell was a perfection. It was classy. He broke the fourth wall. It was amazing. I loved it. I thought it was so good. TikTok's back now, but for how long is the big question? Because everyone's like, oh yeah, it's back. It's great. Oh yay, such a sigh of relief. No, right? It was a law that was passed in the USA. It is a law. It is not just someone's whim, right? The only way to change a law in the USA is with an act of Congress. Now, it's not to say it can't be done. It's just going to take some time, right? TikTok is not gone in Australia, although we did know a couple of friends here and there who had set their accounts up while they were in the USA who lost their accounts. So it was very weird. It was very, like, you could VPN around to get into CapCut, but you couldn't for TikTok. Anyway, it was all very odd. But what I'm saying is it takes an act of Congress to change this law that's being created, right? Now, Donald Trump has come in, or President Trump, for those of you that he is your president, he's not mine, because I'm from another country. We don't have presidents in Australia. But he has requested that the penalties not be enforced. So he has made a request. And, you know, a request from a president, it's a pretty heavy request, right? But at a whim, he could change his mind. And then all of a sudden, Apple and Google and anywhere else that's going to be getting the $5,000 per user fine could all of a sudden be hit with these fines. So are you going to be relying on the whim or the feelings of a person on any one day? And we know this particular person can be quite changeable in their mind and how things should be done. So would you base your business off a whim or off a promise? I mean, personally, I wouldn't. Like, The notices on TikTok that I've been seeing on Twitter, like the screenshots, are like, President Trump is amazing. President Trump's doing, and you're just like, oh, okay. Okay. But yeah, a request until he is officially in office. Yeah. But that's right, live stream consultants. It must be repealed by Congress. Donald Trump can't just come in and go, boof, it's gone now. He can't. That's not how American law works. It has to be an act of Congress. Not to say that he doesn't have control over Congress or whatever. I'm not sure. I don't know. But it has to be an act of Congress. Yeah, and I saw this as well. So he's asking now for 50% ownership. So, but we'll go. I'm going to jump back to this just briefly. But the original plan for this video or this live stream was about your eggs being all in one basket. But I had a different story to share. So last week, I had to edit for a client, and I Premiere Pro has been my go-to for a very long time. Kept crashing. Like, I'm not kidding. Every second action I took, it crashed. Like, it'd be fine for like 5 or 10 minutes and then crash. And it was doing my head in. I eventually got the first edit out. I knew it was going to be just a roughie to get an idea of if that's what they wanted or not. They got back to me. I needed to make changes, and it started doing it again. And I'm just like, I am not doing this. For a start, I've already cancelled my Adobe account. Funnily enough, after last week's live stream where I was just like, I'm going to be looking at ways so that I can save the money going forwards, I had an email that it was going to be changing. It was my final payment at the lower price. And then as of next month, it was jumping up to nearly 100 Australian dollars a month, which is ridiculous amount of money. And so I was just like, I can't do it. I can't justify it. Not at this stage in my business. I can't justify $100 a month. And so I'd already cancelled it. But then I went to do this edit on Thursday and Friday, and it was just like, oh my gosh, this is driving me insane. So what did I do? I had to jump in and grab an alternative. And I am the queen of alternatives. You guys know that I am a suspenders and belt kind of person. If you've got one microphone, you have no microphones. What if that crashes and dies? What's your alternative? If your lights go out, what's your alternative? If your streaming software becomes totally unusable, what's your alternative? So what was my alternative? DaVinci Resolve. It had been a long time since I used it. I needed to run some updates. Because it would not accept MP4s. Like, how long has DaVinci Resolve been accepting MP4s? And I'm like even chatting with a friend like, hey, what's your alternatives? I'm thinking Final Cut Pro. Now that I'm on Mac, like, because DaVinci Resolve won't, do MP4s, and I need at least some access to MP4s. And he was like, it does do MP4s. And I was like, oh, okay, what? But it's heavy duty. And I know it's not for everybody, but it's a good alternative for me. So I'm still looking at Final Cut Pro to get used to that, throw it on my laptop, have it as a backup, have it as my portable version. But I know that editing on the different softwares is different. Even editing between DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, like, I'm a keyboard shortcut person. I kept using the Premiere Pro keyboard shortcuts instead of the DaVinci Resolve. Funnily enough, the Premiere Pro keyboard shortcuts don't work in DaVinci Resolve. Like, that's surprising, right? So making sure that we don't end up in that situation where I was like pulling my hair out. Like, I was this close to pulling the trigger on some $500 software because I couldn't get my backup to do what it was supposed to do. And then I realized I was only about 1 million versions behind and had to do like a massive update. And then it was a dream. It was a dream, and it was perfect to use. So it was just driving me crazy. And then rather than deciding, let's not edit today, I jumped over to DaVinci Resolve because I don't believe in going all in on one software or tool. I don't think it's wise. And I think we all need to be widening our knowledge. And, this is one of these things where, I think there's too many people, too many creators out there. And this became really evident when StreamYard went kaput as well. I mean, it's not totally dead, but it's dying the slow death. When StreamYard sort of first started going downhill, the number of people that just couldn't switch to another software because they were so comfortable. They had put all of their eggs in one basket, right? All of their eggs are in one basket. Please let me know in the chat, do you have all of your eggs in one basket? Are you comfortable enough to edit on more than one editing software? Are you comfortable enough to stream on more than one streaming software? Like, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, what are you using? Do you have multiple social accounts, or have you gone all in on one? You know, I mean, I'm a big fan of YouTube. I love YouTube, and I prefer to place my content on YouTube. But if I can put my short content over on Instagram, I do. Was I using TikTok for that as well? Sure. Yes, I was. You know, I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket. Do I have an email list that like? Fiberific's email list gets way more love than the Chantelle Hill's email list, partly due to me never mentioning it or sending any emails from it, but it exists, right? Have you set up your backups and your alternatives? Are you ready for if something happens? And I'm not even talking about the massive big chaos that was TikTok, right? What happens if a server goes down? Like it's happened on YouTube as well. People haven't been able to access YouTube for like 5 or 6 hours, and they're like losing their minds. What do you do then? Do you just like run around like your hair's on fire, or do you actually go, well, you know what? I'm just going to go over and post on Instagram. I'm going to go and post over on here. You know, you need to have you don't have to be like highly proficient at everything. But you just need to be able to just muddle through with the basics, right? John says the whole exercise is so cynical, it makes me so sad. Look, there are so many of I'm reading so much stuff about the TikTok thing that it's really hard to not go, you know, conspiracy theory. Like, it's really awkward. Livestream Consultant says the apps are still unavailable on iOS and Android for TikTok and CapCut. Yeah, look, so this is the thing. Apple and Google are probably not going to risk allowing new downloads at this stage. They've got, like, according to US law, that those penalties kick in as of the 19th of January. Would you be willing to risk $5,000 US per user on like a, hey, you know, can I please have this? So if you've still got the apps, you're able to go back into them. But if you uninstalled your apps and you're trying to reinstall them, you'll have to wait a bit longer. John says eggs are expensive. You need to look after them. I love that. They really are. They really are. I kind of miss having chickens. John says I had a similar experience with my podcasting software, Hindenburg Pro 2. It kept crashing for a solid year. Some recent updates seem to have fixed it. Well, that's good. DaVinci Resolve is so good, but it does make me download a 3 gig file every time I need to update it. Yeah, that's pretty heavy, I will say. Geology Dude says, I'm using this event to stay away from TikTok in the future, even if it returns. Now, I kind of disagree with that. I mean, I get it, but I kind of disagree with it because it could be a backup for shorts in the future. So if it ends up coming back, why not utilize it? But don't make it the only thing you have, right? If you're putting a short video out on Shorts, you're putting it out on say Instagram, why not throw the same video over on TikTok like a backup? It's the only extra work really is just uploading it. You can cut and paste everything else. So I really think that you need to be, and like, I'm like, grab a pen and paper. What are your most used apps that you use for things? What are you, YouTube? Are you, you know, DaVinci Resolve? What is your most used apps? And then write down what is your backup that you currently have ready to go, that you are confident enough in to just go, oh, that's not working. I'm just going to go over here. So, you know, it's what's your backups? Because, you know, the whole app may not be removed by a government, but it could be just an outage or a bad update. You can't stop work just because of that, right? So look, there's many options to CapCut. for video editing. There's many options. There's VN Editor, InShot, Clipchamp, DaVinci, Movavi, Final Cut Pro. Like, there are tons of options, right? Canva, Descript, like, they may or may not have exactly what you need. Like, you may have found the unicorn that does everything that you want, but you need to find the next best thing for you. Be nice if it was a free one or very cheap or a once a year pay or once a lifetime payment or something. But make sure that you are proficient in it. Alternate edit. Edit one video in your favorite, edit one video in your least favorite. Build the skills so that you can make them look similar. Build the skills so that you don't have to worry about it. Hammer out your basics. You know, just make sure you've got something that works for your style of video, and you can do it in more than one editing software. The number of people that I saw in my feeds, I got a few DMs as well, like, oh, what's your best alternative for CapCut? You know, there is so many options, and I can recommend something and they're like, oh, that didn't work for me, I didn't like it. And that's cool, and I get it. But you need to be making sure that you're, you know, stretching yourself and just getting something good enough that it doesn't stop you from creating. If this is your business, if this is your livelihood, or you want it to be a business or a livelihood, you can't let one thing stop it. All right. So there is a guy that I see around the traps in the YouTube help channels over the last few years. And the only question they asked was how to get an editing software back that they wanted. It has been outdated. The original company no longer makes it. You don't have access to it. It's gone. But they, because it's old, it was for Windows 7 and it became available for Windows 8, 10, or 11, and they just want it back. And then just recently, I saw them post in a chat that they had actually stopped uploading because no one would tell them how to get this editing software back. Like, seriously, they've let the fact that the software they were comfortable in stop them from creating. Like, would you let that happen? Would you go, okay, I don't have access to this little software anymore. I can't create. That's it. It's over. End of days. Just, you know, you need to get on top of this stuff. You need to make sure you can do it. Companies do stuff we don't like all the time. And I'm looking at Filmora, Filmic Pro, StreamYard, TubeBuddy. We can't be complacent. We need to expand our knowledge and our skills, even just to the bare minimum, so that we can utilize other things. Sometimes dramatic stuff happens and you're left, you know, laying in the dirt. And do you want to be a dirt dweller? Like, I don't want to be a dirt dweller. I'm allergic to dust. And also I don't like the feel of dirt. Do you want to be a dirt dweller? So yeah, let me know. Let me know in the chat. Oh, also another app, but it's for Android users only. Doug's been pointing out this weekend, is YouTube Create. YouTube Create is a fantastic app. If you're on Android, sorry iPhone users, you'll be left in the dirt for that one. But you need to, and Instagram, they're jumping on board. They are bringing out software called Edits so that you can edit in Instagram. Edit. You know, it's not in Instagram. It's like CapCut. Yeah, it's like you'll probably get access to all of the filters, all of the stuff, and then you can probably directly upload it. But you know, you've got Instagram jumping in with edits. YouTube, has YouTube announced an iOS date? I don't know, but they need to. They really need to. Let's have a look in the chat. John says, I need to set some serious Stream Deck buttons for DaVinci. Yeah, I tend to be a keyboard shortcutter for editing. I don't know what it is. I'll have to check, because I think you're right. I do remember there being an option for that. Or at least there used to be. I don't know if there still is. TikTok be like the Undertaker in a casket match. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. See, this is the thing. This is the thing. It's just there's so like this is my concern. There's just so much pandering going on. I don't like it. Combined with the Chinese spying, TikTok will be American run or gone, in my honest opinion. Yeah, because like seriously, Russell, it's going to take an act of Congress to change this. It can't just be President Trump making a decision. It's a law that has been put into place. So yeah. As to editing, you can even do some basic editing in OBS in a pinch. Really? I didn't know you could edit in OBS. There you go. Lee, good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Sorry, I'm a bit behind. I went on a rant straight away. I was just like, boof. You might want to rewind the rant. The rant was good. I thought the rant was good. Let me know in the chat. Geology Dude says, my time is limited. I don't want to get seriously involved in additional social venues other than YouTube. I mean, that's your choice. That's your choice. John says, so much of my advice is don't rely on rented social media land, but who can afford to host their own videos? If you do, where's the traffic coming from? But this is the thing, right? Like if you're renting a shop, do you just have the shop or do you go and put signs out so people can find your shop, right? So I agree with, the rented land. I see it more as like the ocean with changing sandbars. Everything changes, everything moves. Are you ready to move with it? So could you imagine if this is just the biggest marketing ploy ever pulled in the US population? Tinfoil hat firmly placed on the head. Look, there are some really interesting, there's a guy on TikTok who I was reading just before the stream. Like I probably, not TikTok. Twitter. Let's see if it's still handy. If it's still handy, I'll his name is Monty. His account is Words Asleep. And the reason I saw it is because Addie Epos Vox reposted it. The Supreme Court's ban did not involve TikTok completely shutting down in the US, but TikTok decided to shut itself down to get a reaction out of users. Because if you know, it actually went early. So a lot of people were expecting it at a particular time and it went something like 12 hours early. Essentially, TikTok worked behind the scenes with Trump to orchestrate a more dramatic shutdown. Now, this is someone's opinion. All right. This is Monty or Words Asleep's opinion, right? Part 3. So TikTok essentially helped Trump look like the savior of TikTok when the original ban only involved its removal from the app stores. And it was only the TikTok app. ByteDance removed TikTok, CapCut, Lemonade, Marvel Snap, like everything they have, they removed it all. Today's statement says that TikTok will turn itself back on due to Trump's promise to reverse the ban once in office. It's written, it's all a publicity stunt for Trump to incur the support of younger voters. No, TikTok should not have been banned in the first place. Mind you, the original ban was something Trump advocated for until he earned tons of support on there, but this is insane. For those interested in reading about how Trump originally wanted to ban TikTok, he's put the actual NPR link for more information on the ban. But yeah, go and check it out. It's actually a really interesting take. So Monty at Words Asleep, WORLDSASLEEP. So I just thought that was a very interesting take because I like some of those facts I actually knew. Like I knew they jumped early. I knew that they put more in than they did. But yeah, it's very interesting. It's very interesting. But my concern is not so much that side of it. It's what we're going to do about it as creators. And what are we going to do to not have it be such an impact on us ever again? And not just TikTok, but because as I said, outages happen, things happen. Laws change apparently for different countries. So yeah, it's definitely something you need to be working out. What are your backups? What are your alternatives? Okay, you're a live streamer. What is your alternative live streaming software? You're a live streamer. What do you do if your internet goes down? Do you have an alternative? You may not, because you may not have access to anything. But if you do, what is it? You know, like, you really need to think about that. Dimmy Hard, it is great to see you. I'm not letting anything or anyone stop me. And hi everyone, by the way. It's great to see. And that is the thing, isn't it? Those people that are like, my life is over because there's no TikTok. What were you doing with all the other apps? Were you totally ignoring that they existed? I know some people definitely prefer TikTok. I prefer YouTube, but I'm mostly active on YouTube, but I'm not active on Blue Sky, Twitter X, LinkedIn. I'm live streaming this to LinkedIn every week. You know, like, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? John says, I downloaded YouTube Create. Was so underwhelmed. Really? Okay. Good morning, Amazing Yacht Destinations. Livestream consultant says, hey, I resemble that remark. Oh, God, the laying in the dirt. Well, you're not laying in dirt. You're laying in sand. It's different. It is fairly basic, but I can tell you it's better than nothing. There is a whole level of creators looking for the simple path to millions, many now providing simple solutions for simple people. Oh, I love that. That's your like little backward slap at those that are like easy mode for YouTube, isn't it? Because I agree with you. Easy mode for YouTube just doesn't exist, right? Where is my thing? I've got a thing. I've accidentally turned off my... Leanne doing BMAC has reminded me that I don't have my coffee thing up. I don't know where it is. I thought that was it. That is not it. Oh, there it is. You know what? It was like under the thing I'm trying to click, like an idiot. Captain Crush, great to see you. Thanks for jumping in. Russell says, I have expanded from YouTube and Facebook to add in Instagram, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, and podcasting. And it's not to say that you don't have to, you know, go all in on all of them, right? You can have a favorite. You can have a preferred path. But don't leave yourself with nothing if something happens to that. You know, like, make sure that you have given yourself the alternatives, because they're not going to give it to you. You have to do it yourself. Let's have a look. There's lots going on in the chat here today. TikTok are playing chess, 3 levels of chess with checker players. Yeah. With level 3 chess with checker players. It's kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, Captain Crush. TikTok have, in the US, they've stated that they'll be reinstalling, they'll be opening everything back up again, because, you know, their savior came to their party and made a promise. But yeah, hedge your bets. Oh my gosh, absolutely. John says the tech billionaires will still ruin your day, but at least you can say you tried. Oh my gosh. Marius, what am I not doing? I'm not uploading pre-recorded content, Marius. And I am not appealing to the broader audience of people wanting entertainment. I'm an education channel, so that's what I'm not doing. It's all good. It's all good. But, you know, it's just how it is. It is. And Doug's right. Absolutely. Don't just rely on AdSense for passive income. Oh my gosh. And it's because that's the small fish. That's the small fish. You need to be looking at the alternatives. You need to be going, okay, affiliate marketing. You know, for me, I get most of my work is like contract work where I work for other creators. You know, my priorities are a little bit different than some people. So my priorities are working for other people, my channels, because I have 2. This is one, and then I have another. And but I want to be able to show up as best I can. So I do what I can. I lost track of my thought this then. Are you happy with that? Of course I'm not happy with that, but I know why it's happening. And it's because of decisions I've made. I've got no one to blame but myself. So it's okay. But Russell's right. 537 is a pretty big fan club. I mean, one thing I will say is I know most people's names. So, and I love that. I don't know everybody's name because there are still new people coming in, which I think is wonderful. And Marius, I think I recognize your name. Do you hang out in the Nick Nimmin live streams? So I don't know. It rings a bell, and I can't quite recall from where. John says, also the thing about 3-minute YouTube shorts is that I can't post them on other platforms, 59 seconds or fewer for me. Instagram's bringing out 3-minute reels. TikTok you can do up to 10 minutes. Facebook and Meta, they're bringing theirs up to 3 minutes. So it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. Murray says, I see you have community. Do you have memberships or Patreon people can pay? Yeah. So I have Buy Me a Coffee, which the link is over there. There we go, because I don't quite have the watch hours for the YouTube memberships just yet. But so I've set up alternate payment methods over on Buy Me a Coffee where people can shout me a coffee, which I love. Coffee is amazing. But also there are memberships over on Buy Me a Coffee as well. So if someone wanted to join my membership over there, they could. I actually have a couple of amazing people who have. Let me just find the video. I made a video. A little video somewhere. Where did I put it? I don't know where I've done it. I've moved everything. Why did I move things? Goodness me. Oh, here it is. Okay, you ready? So these are my current supporters. We've got on Cold Brew level, we've got live stream consultants, and the Espresso Boys is Doug Houston, an amazing yacht destination. So I really appreciate knowing that these guys are just jumping in and being super supportive. And also everybody who comes in. What am I doing here? I'm trying to turn the video off. There it is. Oh my goodness. You know, and it's super supportive, and I love it. And just those of you that even just jump in and watch and hang out in the chat, super appreciate you as well. Oh, yes. Here we go. Larry's brought 3 coffees. Drink something. Well, I can drink a coffee. Thank you so much, Larry.
Jabba. Yes.
Love it. Thanks very much. Anfield says, great stream. I'll watch on the replay. Awesome, Lee. I know it's getting real late for you, so thanks so much for jumping in. Oh, okay. There you go. All right. I knew your name. Watch often with Nick and Doug and me. Yeah, us, champion. Thank you. What do you think is better, Patreon or YouTube memberships? They're both good. Like, this is the thing. They're both really solid. You actually end up with more in your pocket from like Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee than you do from YouTube. However, with YouTube, the integration is all in one place. You're not asking somebody to go off to another platform to follow you over there as well, which is also quite a tricky thing to do. So being able to have it all here, and, you know, if we had channel memberships, those of you would be green in the chat and you'd get priority and you get your, you know, extra perks of your free monthly chat, things like that. So there's pros and cons to both, and it really depends on what it is that you want to give to your community. Sometimes the better place is Patreon, but I think for most people, once you've hit fan funding levels and approved for fan funding partner program, the YouTube partner program fan funding level, I personally will probably change over to YouTube just to keep it all together. YouTube do take a much larger chunk, let me tell you. No, I have not. I have not heard it yet. Lee says, I've had a long day, live stream for 3 hours to a live build and a card kit night all. Sounds like a massive day. Go to sleep. I'll catch you later. Marius says, but like, how do you ask people for money? That's a bit weird, I guess. Marius, I get that, because it is hard. Like, I don't go, please give me money. I mean, I have. I crowdfunded my new chair. I was like, I've set a goal over on buy me a coffee, and if you want to help me save my back, then you can chip in. You can say it without begging for it, if that makes any sense. And it's just giving the people the option, right? You're not like, oh, please give me the money. Oh my gosh, I'm going to die if you don't. You don't need to do any of that. Like, so for me, I've put my little QR code is up there. I think I might even have a link in the description, although I may not. We do have the code, like the chat command. So at any stage, if anyone wants to know the code, you can just type in the chat command of BMAC, and it's supposed to bring up. There it is. It brings up the chat command. So then we can pin that if it ever shows up there. No, that's not it. Anyway, I do have the link in the description. Thank you, Home Rapid Repair. Appreciate that. But yeah, so having the things available as an option and just pointing them out every now and again. You don't have to sort of dwell on it, but just mentioning that it's there and then moving on and giving value. You know what I mean? Like, so just give value to people, and then they're probably more likely to be appreciative. But if you are like, I've seen streams where people are begging, and I don't cope well with those streams for me personally. So you got to do what works for you and what works for your community, and you're going to know that better than anybody else. Like, hey, I have this product. I can offer lots of value, like a pre-recorded videos you can see first if you wish to pay. Fine, in all, no good. I mean, you can just go like, I mean, that sounds like channel memberships. So, like it sounds like you're offering a channel. You can be like, hey, I've got channel memberships. Go and check out what the perks are, and let them read about it. And then just put like, if you're a channel member, or even a Patreon thing, like I've got Patreon with some extra perks for those that are interested. And then it's nearly like a throwaway comment. And you can dig down deep into it if somebody asks, but you can just tell them it's there. And if they're interested, they'll go and look. They really will. How can you get more people on a live stream? It's fun when there are more that you can interact with better. That is a hard thing to control, especially on a smaller channel. Like if you've got a lot of subscribers, then you can just be like, schedule it out a few days in advance. And you can do this with a small channel too. Schedule it out a few days in advance. You can put community posts, especially if it's the first time, like, hey, I'm going to be going live for the first time, so that appears in people's feeds. There's ways to do it, but sometimes you just need to just do it, and it'll slowly build, which is what's happening here and what happens on my other channel as well. It's a slow build, but you need to do it regularly. So like my friend Justin Brown over on Primal Video, he's got over 1.5 million subscribers on his YouTube channel, right? He gets wicked huge amounts of views every single day. His channel is going gangbusters, right? However, when he goes live, he will have between 50 and 100 people in his live. And it's because he doesn't go live very often. His audience aren't expecting it. They're not prepared for it. So having that thing where even if there's no one there, you just create a little piece of content, you do whatever it is that you're doing in your stream.
Yes.
You may
Coffee
end
time.
it a bit shorter.
Coffee,
Geology
coffee,
Dude
coffee,
bought
coffee,
2
coffee.
coffees. Coffee.
Chill.
Mwahaha.
Yabba.
Thank you, Geology
Yes.
Dude. And so, you just need to be consistent. You need to be regular. Like for me, everyone here knows I live stream at the same time every week unless I'm sick or traveling. So that's just how I do it. Livestream consultant says, we all get amazing value from Chantelle just from here live streams alone, let alone anything else she may offer now or in the future. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that, live stream consultants. I try to give value. I try to be helpful. And that's a big thing. For me, it's more about giving than receiving. And if I happen to receive something, that is a double bonus, because you ask here, where do I get my energy from for my live streams? My energy comes from helping people. I'm a huge introvert, right? Like when I'm out with actual human people, my battery gets drained really fast. And And it's I had to think about live streams differently because it's my job, it's my work, and I need the energy. I need to not be like, yeah, we're live streaming again. This is like, TikTok's pretty crap, right? We need to impart energy. We need to be genuine about it. We need to have real excitement for it, because how's anybody else going to be excited about anything you're talking about if you're not? And talking about something that you're passionate about makes that easier, or at least for me. I can only talk about from my personal experience. Do you think streams should be about one topic and focused on that? I think there needs to be at least a starting point. And you'll learn very quickly if you hang out in these streams. We normally start in one place and finish somewhere else. So, but yeah, I do think you need to come in, your audience needs to, just like making a normal video, right? Just like making a VOD, you need to set the expectation with your thumbnail and your title, and you need to deliver on that straight away. And then if we veer off down the track, then I don't care. And if people care, they can leave. I'm not holding them here. They're not like, ha ha ha, you're in the live stream, you're locked in, you can watch nothing else on YouTube until I finish. That's not how it works. So, you've got to keep the interest going. Mara says, sorry for spamming here with the questions. It's what I'm here for. I may not know all the answers, but I'm okay with the questions. Russell says, it all comes back to hobby or business. Ask folks to support your hobby, or ask folks to buy your products and support your business. Absolutely. You've got to think about what is it that is important to you, and how are you going about it. Doug says here, have a direction for your stream at the very least. Having a topic advertised can help with replays as well. Yeah. Dimmy says the great thing about live streams is that you can cut it up into shorter clips after the stream and post them as shorts. Even if you get 0 viewers, you can just make sure to have something to talk about. And that is a really important thing to point out. If you are a live streamer and you are concerned about there not being anybody in the chat or hardly anybody in the chat, if you make little points here and there, or something that's entertaining or fun, or whatever it is that your niche is, you can totally clip that and turn it into a short. And that is a whole separate other piece of content that will drive people. And if you can actually get people to watch the whole video, like if it's on the same channel, if you're posting your shorts to the same channel as your original piece of content, you can actually it'll link it. There's a box to fill in where you can choose the video and you can send them straight to your video. There is absolutely ways around everything. You get more energy from your coffee. Oh my gosh, without coffee. I was thinking about doing this particular trip, and it would mean that I'd have no coffee for a week. And believe it or not, that's making me double decide if I really want to do this trip. Mara says, I was thinking of that. Chantelle should repurpose live streams as it's giving. I do sometimes. I get a bit backlogged with other things, but I do run them through. I'm a big fan of Opus Clips. I run them through Opus Clips. I've actually got 4 live streams in there that I just clipped last week. And I need to go through and choose a couple to actually upload, because they do no good over there. They need to be uploaded to YouTube. We love a good squirrel. Yeah, we do. Absolutely. Maria says, I see why people hang around with you. You have good energy. I don't think you live in the sunny England and be miserable like me, Dally. No. I'm in Brisbane. I'm in Australia. It is summer. It's hot. The air conditioning's on because we are going to hit 30 degrees today. It's going to be so hot. I could get a lot of shots from this stream, I think. Yeah. Main Street Popcorn, great to see you. I have so much fun live streaming on my channel. We have a small but loyal group. We're starting to highlight others by bringing them on the live stream too. And now we have a waiting list. That's really cool. That is really cool. I like having guests, but I like to pre-plan the guests. I know that there's some people that like to just open it up and here is the link and jump in. I've never had good success with that. I've always ended up with like dodgy stuff, and I don't like it. So I don't open it up to people I don't actually know. But if that is working, that is so cool, and I love that for you. What do you make of Opus Clip? Is it worth paying for it? Look, it's like anything. If you use it, it's worth paying for it. But they do have a solid free plan. So you can go in and work out if you're using it enough to warrant upgrading to the paid plan. So you don't have to pay straight away, and you get a certain amount each month for free. So if you're just doing like 1 or 2 live streams, the other way to save some hours is if you know that there's a particular, like a rough spot in your live stream that was like the bit, like say the first 30 minutes rather than the last hour, like you know that in the last hour it was like really jumbled or whatever, or it was like totally off topic. You can actually like choose to slide it to bring it down, and then only that 30 minutes that you've chosen gets counted towards your hours. So if you've got an idea of where in the stream you want those clips from, you can actually really shorten the amount of time, like the amount of your free minutes that you're using, or your paid minutes if you're using paid minutes. Definitely worth having a look. And Doug's right, it's time to hydrate, everybody. So as I said at the beginning of the stream, this is a triple beverage stream. I got the tea, I got the coffee, and I have water. So gotta have all the hydration ready. You got to start hydrating the second you wake up, or I'm never going to be able to talk. And by hydration, coffee and tea don't count as hydrating. I know, but you know, I'm still drinking them. Let's have a look at, bring on the coffee. Hello, coffee. Dimmy says the Opus Clips is great. I use it myself and it saves me a lot of time, but it's only really good for talking head videos or live streams, not so much for vlogs. Yeah, I think that they're trying to work out how to broaden that a little bit, but for these kinds of talking head live streams, perfect. What do you use for bringing guests into your stream, by the way? What apps are worth paying for? It's going to come down to what are you comfortable with on your live streaming. I used to be a big fan of StreamYard. Don't recommend StreamYard anymore. I would say check out EVMux if you need a cloud-based streaming software. If you are happy with a PC or computer-based software, I would look at OBS. OBS has access to what is Social Stream Ninja's video conferencing tool thing called? I cannot remember. Someone in the chat will know. But you can use that with OBS, or I'm currently right now using Ecamm, and Ecamm has a guest feature as well. So you just need to test some things, and just see what works for you. Run some tests. I tend to test either with Doug or just by joining as a guest on my phone and muting it so it doesn't do the whole Inception thing. Anybody can be triggering what Doug is triggering. You can just go and use the list, and the list will, if it shows up, the list will give you everything that all the commands that we've got. Video Ninja, thank you. I knew somebody here would know what it was called. But yeah, Video Ninja is a plugin for OBS. It's created by the same people who make Social Stream Ninja, which is what I'm using to bring my comments on screen, and what I'm using so that these chat commands work, so that when I type in command list, the list appeared, things like that. So it is Social Stream Ninja and Video Ninja are pretty dang awesome. Yeah, you're right. It's not technically a plugin. Yeah, you need to use it as a browser source. So when I was testing out EVMux, if you have the top level EVMux plan that allows you to have browser source, it means you can bring all this into EVMux as well, and then still have all of EVMux's tools too. But you do need to pay for the level that allows you to have browser sources. Whereas OBS, you can just have browser sources for free. SMA Sky is in the house. Great to see you, SMA Sky. I think I need another sip of a drink. So see, one of the things, like, just to circle back a little bit about all our eggs being in one basket. For a long time, I really relied on StreamYard. It was my comfort zone. I was really happy with that. It was super lightweight on my computer. It was super lightweight using my internet. I could have multiple guests, no problems. You know, it was wonderful. And then the ownership changed. It went a bit downhill. The prices went through the roof. Not so good anymore. And I felt that I was like swaying in the reeds. Like, what on earth am I going to be using? Now, admittedly, I had already been alternating between StreamYard and Ecamm because there's a lot of things about Ecamm that I love, which is like big thing, browser sources. Hello. Being able to really have things exactly how I want them, like especially for my Fiberific live streams where I do a lot more multi-camera work. I wanted to be able to have that. I wanted to bring in my Louis cam. So for my dog, he sits on the floor sometimes and hangs out during the streams. All of these things were so much easier in Ecamm than they were, and OBS than they were in StreamYard. So I was already using Ecamm a lot, but when it came to guests, I really just loved StreamYard, and I would use Ecamm for everything. But the second I was doing something with guest, I jumped straight into StreamYard. So I realized then that I'd become really reliant on one piece of software. And I didn't realize that because like I'm always about, like, especially for hardware, I've got 2 computers that can live stream. You know, I've got my Mac Mini, which is what I'm using right now, but I've also got my laptop that can live stream. I've got spare sets of lights. I've got spare microphones. I've got spare audio interface. Now, these are not all the same quality. Usually I've kept what I upgraded from, and just go with, like, have that as the spare. Like, so the older ones that if it didn't die, it gets to stay and be the spare. Because I don't believe in not having backups. And I think that I definitely think that we should be making sure that we are confident enough that we can work with a different software, that we can work with a different streaming software with a different hardware. We definitely need to be aware that it's very, very easy to become complacent. It's very, very easy to become reliant on one thing. And when that one thing crashes and burns, which we all just saw happen with StreamYard not that long ago, those of us that dealt with StreamYard and that dealt with TubeBuddy and that dealt with Filmora and dealt with Filmic Pro and all these other things that have just gone by the wayside, like, they all still exist, but are they still worth using? I don't know. I don't use any of those anymore. I don't recommend any of them. Whereas I used to. So, I mean, you tell me. You tell me. StreamYard, TikTok, where do I send my therapy bills? Oh my gosh. Oh, John's got another option, which is Ping GG, which is a paid thing. That's pretty good as well. Okay, good options. Good options. Apparently, Atom Vertical's OBS plugin used American servers, and they weren't sure if it would work under a TikTok ban. That's really interesting. Should I reach out to bring guests on or let them come to me? If you decide you want to have guests, don't be afraid to reach out. Be aware they may not, depending on who it is, they may not respond, they may decline, but they might say yes. So I would reach out, but when you're reaching out for guests, you need to be pretty specific about what it is that you like, what your channel's about, who your audience is, what you're going to be talking about. And again, even if it's just the start of the conversation, and you know, when you reach out, just be really professional and patient and kind. And if they say yes, they say yes. If they say no, they say no. And just, you know, like, thanks for your time, appreciate the consideration, and move on. Like, it's never a judgment of you. It could just straight up be that someone just doesn't have the bandwidth for it, like, as in they've got too much work on already and they just cannot go off and have fun for a little bit. You know, like, there's times where you've probably been invited out with your friends and you couldn't go for whatever reason. It's not that you don't like your friends, it's just you've had a prior commitment or you were sick or something. So yeah. I did. I did have all my eggs in one basket for guests. I really did. And that basket dropped to the ground and smashed to pieces and became scrambled eggs in the dirt. I know there's an app called Matchmaker for people who do or have podcasts, but it never worked for me. I don't know much about that. I do know that I know StreamYard had a service for a while where you could find guests, but I believe it was only functioning in the US, so I never got to see it because I'm not in the US. But yeah, a lot of these things do tend to only work for one country, which I think is weird, right? Like, can everybody who is here in the chat just put where they're watching from, like the country they're watching from? Because I can tell you it's not all Australians that are watching right now. So yeah, I'm gonna drink some more coffee. That's what it was called, StreamYard collab. Yeah, I knew they just shut it down, but didn't know what it was called. Well, here we go. Australia, Thailand, USA, Sweden, USA, UK, USA. So like out of everybody, there's like me and 2 or 3 other Australians, and then everybody else is from somewhere else. So, and that also comes down to choosing a live streaming time that can work. Like I know it's not the best time for those in Europe. I do get that, so I appreciate you being here. So, you know, whereas it's a reasonable time in Australia and the US. Like for me, it was 9 a.m. on Monday morning, whereas for the US, it was 6 p.m. Eastern Sunday night. Oh, geology, dude. That is a terrible joke. It's really hard to keep it flat is the problem. It's like so much product to hold it down. And we've got to turn our cameras so that we appear the right way up. Just walk around on the ceiling all the time. Goodness me. Yeah, I nearly changed my plan for today's live stream because it became relevant to TikTok. And I was just like, do I really want to open that can of worms? It's like, do I really want to open that can of worms? But I just thought, you know what? I'm going to go with my original plan and just encompass the TikTok into it. So, yeah. John Lacey says, I don't know if it's a logistics thing or if people just don't like me, but trying to get guests was a nightmare. Yeah, look, when I first started this channel, I had a guest every week. And it got a bit harder. And not just because of like, you know, people not being able to make it or things like that, but just, I don't know. I found it difficult to keep it fresh and ask different questions. And I tried really hard to make the questions relevant to that individual. So, but yeah, I don't know. I just, yeah, I would just keep trying. If you really want a guest, I would just keep trying. I believe, I believed that as a kid. It must be hard to live in Australia. Okay. Wow. All right. Doug says, it's funny that I hadn't heard about that until it announced it shuts down. It's because it wasn't available to us, Doug. It was US only. Australians need to make more pushback jokes about the Northern Hemispheres. Yeah, but I think the difference is we've got, like, I mean, I'll probably just put my foot in it. We've got a really good sense of humor about it because we're so used to hearing it. I think if we started pushing back, it might be different. I had one match on the StreamYard collab, but the person's audio was so distorted I didn't follow up. Wow. Main Street Popcorn says we have our guests share their inspiration. Okay. So what is your topic? So what would their inspiration for what? Oh, okay. I didn't realize Australians could join. I thought it was a US only thing. I didn't hear it opened up. That's a shame. Well, Bending Spoons has axed it, so, you know, at least I didn't become reliant on it, I suppose. Yeah, it's one of those things. But like asking, like I love the variation in the questions in today's live stream. Like I was really concerned that everyone was going to be all like TikTok, 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 TikTok. But it's not, and it's awesome. It's so good. Oh, that's terrible. Hey, here we are in the north, always just on top of the world. Oh gosh. Um, uh, our channel is about bookkeeper, as in like accountants, bookkeepers. Is that what you're talking about, or something else? Oh, see, I did this all before AI became a bit more normal. Because it's like, well, at least more normal for me. I don't know how. Look, I've got a research job, right? And part of it was getting AI to do some stuff for me. But one thing I'll tell you is you cannot rely on what AI says. I would give it a file to go through and then write a script about that file. And it would make random crap up. Like that was not in the file and did not exist in the world. I'm just like, what are you on? Get rid of that bit. Are you sure that number is correct? Because I really don't think it is. So yeah, you've got to be really on top of it. So I love researching. I actually love personally going digging and researching. I like finding the nuggets and finding the questions to ask that they haven't been asked before and things. That makes me so happy when someone goes, oh, I've never been asked that before. That's like my favorite words. I've never been asked that before. So yeah, it is definitely a tool that you need to not rely on. The AI hallucinations are very real. Yeah, they are. Yeah, the large language models are looking for words that go together, not factual accuracy. Yeah, and it's always got a positive lilt as well. It doesn't go negative, so which can totally change a topic if it's given a positive slant rather than just whatever it was, even if it was neutral. Oh yeah, and you definitely need to proofread it. Oh my gosh, absolutely, absolutely. And it's definitely better than it was 12 or 18 months ago as well, like for sure. It's definitely better. But yeah, I think what I did was I created a Calendly and I offered people the opportunity to jump in. And I was making my live stream start at slightly random times just to try and fit in a bit better with people. But when I started doing this more regularly without guests, I decided to keep it starting at a standard time. Because I knew that like the time that suited me didn't always suit people in the USA. So sometimes it was a slightly different day. Sometimes it would be an hour earlier or an hour later or even 2 hours earlier. So it didn't always work out for the best, but I had some really fun guests and some amazing conversations. Main Street Popcorn says, our channel is about bookkeepers creating their own bookkeeping businesses. Everyone has their own story or struggle that inspires others to keep going forward. Yeah, and that is true across every niche. That's so true. Every single person has an origin story. And what keeps them going, what keeps them fired up. I don't have that one. That's not one of mine. Home Rapid Repair says, I've been using AI recently to help with viewer questions when they're asking for a lot of detail. AI has no personality and I have to edit all of it. Yeah, it can be very dry. It can be very dry. Oh my gosh. I heard you're an expert in sheep farming. Well, while I am an expert spinner, I have no idea about sheep other than which fleeces I like to spin. So I don't actually know anything about sheep farming at all. Yeah. But I like the wording. I like how it's like it's an open question that it gave you. It's I do like that. I'm not even. I'm like, does Dim even know that I'm a yarn crafter? I don't know. Yeah, Doug says I'm partial to merino. Yeah, me too. Although I do like Castledale. It's probably my favorite, which is a merino blend. or crossbreed, I should say. So yeah, it's you know, we all have our favorites of different things. Like, let me know in the chat, what is your favorite go-to editing software? Pop that in the chat. We're all making videos here. We're all doing stuff. And even those of us that only live stream, you might edit into shorts. So if you do that, pop your favorite way to edit into your shorts. I know that not everybody who live streams only does editing. But yeah. Doug's a Final Cut Pro guy. I'm this close to pulling the trigger on Final Cut Pro and buying that. One thing you could do is start having a special guest once a month and build a reputation of being a great interviewer. I love interviewing people. I had so much fun with it. And over on Fiberific, not the Fiberific channel, once a year I ran an event that was a 3-day live stream, and I would have 25 guests a day for 3 days, or 2 to 3 days. It changed over the period, like each year they tweaked it up. And I'd have 20 to 25 guests a day that I would interview in 8 hours. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Had so much fun with it. And I really should do it again. Dimmy Hart says Premiere Pro for sure. You know what? I was Premiere Pro all the way until this week when it just crashed and crashed and crashed and crashed and crashed. But I'd already decided to give up my Adobe because it's expensive and I can't afford it anymore. All we do is get them talking and ask questions about how they managed to struggle. Everyone loves to talk about themselves. But it's not even just that. Everybody loves to talk about the thing that fires them up. Like, you can tell when someone's talking about a topic and then they start talking about something that they absolutely love or are passionate about, their face changes. It is instant. You can just watch it just go from oh yeah, this is an interesting topic, to, oh my God, this is my passion. You can totally see the shift. Oh, I'm not going to go all in on Final Cut Pro. I'm still going to have DaVinci Resolve. I need 2, remember? I'm going to have 2. So yeah. Esme Sky says, I use the video editor in Blender for simple edits, but DaVinci for more complicated. But I also enjoy After Effects and Premiere when I have access to them. There you go. Livestream Consultant says I have Resolve and Movavi. That's a great pairing as well. I like Movavi's for my basic edits. But I need to install on this computer. It's installed on a different computer. So maybe I've already got my 2. But I haven't tried Final Cut Pro, and I want to try it. So I'll at least get there's a free trial. I think I'll at least get the free trial. Leanne says you're a great interviewer. If you want to see my interview prowess, go and check out some of the older videos on this channel. I've got some interviews with some great people there. Justin Brown, did a couple actually. Shelley Nathan, there's Viper, there's, oh my gosh, Doug was there, Andrew Can is there. There's like a pile of creators that I chatted with. So you can go and check those out, and you can make your own decision. But I enjoy it, and that's the thing. And I love like when Doug and I stream together, we have so much fun. Or at least I have so much fun. Doug's probably like, oh my God, she doesn't stop talking. But I have so much fun. Can confirm. Which one are you confirming, Doug? Oh, Gemini seems to know a lot about you, Chantelle. Oh, really? Well, I've been kicking around for a while. I actually like Gemini. I use Gemini a little bit. I've started using it just to write. Like, I'll import a script, and then I'll be like, "Hey, can you write my description?" Because I don't want to write a description. As I understand, Final Cut and DaVinci is similar in the learning curve, but are different. See, I have no problems with learning curves. I'm a-okay with learning curves. I have Google, I have YouTube. I can do learning curves. I just don't like it when it's glitchy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hate trying to learn something when it's like a mess, right? Like when the software is glitchy or fails, and so you're like, is it me or is it the software? Like, what is it? Oh, you can confirm. Confirm was about being a guest. Oh, that's cool. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I also love it when you and Doug stream together. It's a good synergy. It's fun. It's so much fun. Chantelle never talks too much. We had great conversations at Vid Summit. I had so much fun at Vid Summit, and I am so hopeful I'm going to get to go again this year. I'm just like, I'm just doing the work. I'm just trying to keep my, keep working, don't get fired, and hopefully I'll get to go to Vid Summit again. Like, that's my goals. Don't get fired. Dimmy, how it happened to me this week. Like, and that was the thing. I remember lots of people talking about it a while back, like a few years ago, and I never had a problem with it. And I've been using Premiere, like only using Premiere. Again, put all my eggs in that basket. And whenever I was editing anything, I always used Premiere because it was just easy and just did the work. But this week it was constantly crashing. And I'm like, is it crashing because I canceled my account? Like, I still got 30 days left. I just paid for my final month. Like, was it doing it just because I canceled? Like, is it vindictive? Like, that's when my brain went, it doesn't like me because it knows I canceled. But I'm like, but I still have access for like 30 more days. Yeah, I will confirm you can talk and talk. I think anybody who is sitting here watching this can confirm. Yep, absolutely. It's kind of a necessity when you're a live streamer, right? To keep the conversation moving. John says, I started with Windows Movie Maker a billion years ago, but it kept crashing, and I went and bought Sony Movie Vegas on DVD from Harvey Norman. Oh my gosh. It is. I was talking with somebody, and it was like they bought this piece of hardware, and they're like, it came with an install disc. I'm like, really? And then I was chatting with this other friend of mine. She's bought a piece of hardware, and she couldn't find the software. I'm like, is there an install disc in the box? But there wasn't. But I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so weird that things still come out with install discs. Like, let me know, does your computer have a disc reader of any description? I am seriously contemplating getting a Blu-ray reader just so I can throw Blu-rays on while I'm doing stuff. But yeah. Time to crowdfund your trip to Vid Summit. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm gonna wait because I'm working, right? And I know that, like, there was a conversation where we had that if work ended up paying for Vid Summit, and then I could just pay for somebody else. But I talked to my tax guy about that, and there are so many tax implications because I pay tax on all my Buy Me a Coffees, and the tax implications are really heavy. And so it's just one of these things. I'm such a small business. The tax implications are too stressful for me. It's the built-in AI. It doesn't like you. It's probably exactly what it is. Oh my gosh. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I'm heavily investing in learning DaVinci Resolve, thinking of going full edition. I had very few crashes even or ever, even on older hardware. Yeah, look, DaVinci Resolve is pretty dang good, but I still don't want to be the only one that I'm comfortable in editing in, just in case something happens. I want to have, like, if I have to edit on one of my older laptops, like say all my Macs die, right? Like, say my Mac Mini dies and my MacBook Pro dies, and I've got to jump back over to my Windows laptop, right? It's still good. It's still good. It can't run DaVinci Resolve. It's DaVinci Resolve's too heavy for it. So I've got Movavi over there. So, I need to be able to jump between them. And I think that being able to jump between softwares is a great skill. And basically because I have it. Like, it's a fantastic skill to have because I already have it. But yeah, I think being comfortable in change is what you need. John says, I'm feeling old because it's my birthday tomorrow, but I also owned a Commodore 64 as a kid. Happy birthday for tomorrow, John. That is so cool. Don't feel old. We don't feel old here. We don't feel old here. My first computer was a P133 that I actually got from work because they were upgrading to P2s. and they were getting rid of all of their P133s, and it had a CRT monitor. So I was like 18 or 19 years old and already working before I got my first computer. I bought multiple DVD Blu-ray drives because I have so many CDs and DVDs that I need to pick your mind because I don't know what to buy. Like, I don't know what to buy. I don't need it to be able to write Blu-rays or DVDs. I just want it to read. I would actually like to be able to save some of my Blu-rays onto like Plex, but yeah, I haven't done that for a while. I've done it with DVDs, but I've never done it with Blu-rays. Leanne, Craft Room, have an awesome week, and I'll catch you later. Yeah, so that's the thing. I'm looking at these little ones that can just plug in with USB, but there's like the price range is so varied. I don't know if it's like these $50 ones, like it's Australian dollars, 50 Australian dollar ones are just garbage, or do I need a $200 one? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, the young folk don't know the struggle when you used to put your videos on a DVD and mail them to people to watch. Mate, I used to be in a club, right? It was a Star Trek club, so shush. And somebody in the US would record the Next Generation episodes onto a VCR, like a VCR tape, right? And post it. And we still got it 6 to 12 months earlier than if we waited for it to come on TV in Australia. And we would have these massive watch parties at the UQ campus is the one in the city in Brisbane. Is it UQ? Yeah. It's the UQ campus. And we used to go and sit in one of the big halls there and watch it as a group. And they'd like send us 2 episodes at a time. And then some very smart, sneaky person would actually double those, or not double them, would rip them all. And we could buy our own copies for like $5 or something. Like you bring your own, you would bring they requested a specific brand, but you would pay $5 and hand them a tape. But they would give you a different tape. Like that's why we all had to stick with one brand. And then next time, so it was like you sort of, the tape was like a deposit kind of thing. Anyway, that's how we did it. It was $5 plus a tape, and you got your 2 episodes. It was insane, but we used to do that because we were old, and there was no way to digitally transfer it. TRS 80s. You're not old until you've written BASIC for a Tandy TRS 80. Oh my gosh. Wow. The Trash 80. I remember loading Frogger by cassette tape. I remember playing Frogger on a cassette. My uncle had a computer that ran on tapes, and we would go over and he had kids and we'd all play games together, and it was just like insanity. And there was this one game that was just awful, and we'd play it just because we weren't supposed to, and it was called Leisure Suit Larry, and it was so bad. It was the worst game I'd ever seen in my life. And even now, and I remember it, like we would 40 years later and I still remember it. Yeah, I've got a thing. I need to check it. It's a game with like a little controller that I bought. I think it was an Atari reboot. But I'll have to go and check it. Yeah, because we were Atari kids. I was an Atari kid. My first real PC was an IBM PC Junior. It had a 2 floppy drive with a 640K expansion module. Oh my gosh, which had math coprocessors so you could switch off and on. What? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh wow, we're all just old, aren't we? Gosh. What I think it is we're not old. I take that back. We're not old. We've just been around for the technology age, and technology moves really quickly. That's what it is. That's what it is. We're not old at all. I'm like, I can't decide which drink to have. I need water. Mm. Gosh, there was a Mega Man game on it. Wow. Oh, you've played Larry, but on Xbox? I didn't even know he came on anything else. Oh my gosh. I remember when William Shatner had real hair. Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah. It's like this is the thing, right? Technology changes, like just to bring it right back. Technology changes, software changes. They come, they go. Platforms change, they come, they go, you know? We have to be ready to change with it. We do. We have to be ready to change with it. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. My favorite game on my Commodore was Commandos. It was so much fun. My the the first game console that I bought for myself. So when I was a kid, we had an Atari, but I went and bought myself a Super Nintendo, like SNES, and my favorite game on that was what was it called? Was it Mission Control? Um, where you had to like aim ICBMs at places. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I loved that one. Um, I had lots of games like because my brother would come and play, and he would buy games and just leave them at my place. So I got to the point where like I hardly ever played it and gave it to him. He was very happy that day. My first was an IBM XT with a hard drive so advanced, 20 megabytes. My father said, I will never fill it up. Well, then, she says, looking at her phone that has considerably more. Missile Command. Yeah. I always wanted a C-128 with the expansion dock. Oh my gosh. The Olympic games. They were so much fun. They were so fun. The what was the one that I was really bad at? The we had to pass the baton. Relays. Gosh. I'm so old that I remember when TV stations would play the national anthem right before they went off the air for the rest. Yeah, they didn't go all night. That was the big thing, wasn't it? They do now. They do now. Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, games, old school games are fun. Every now and again, I actually like reinstall. Like I'm one of these people that I have to be really careful with my time. I find it very, very easy to get sucked into things that take time. Hello, crafter, right? And it's the same with games. So I actually have to uninstall games because I could go to check an email or a message and then accidentally press the game and then have to play a level and then realize that that email that I needed to send, I forgot to send it. I'll have to go and do that. You know what I mean? So I'm that person who uninstalls things just to get them out of the way. I know I could put them in folders behind folders, and there are times where that works. But yeah, sometimes I'm like, what's in this folder? I don't even remember. Then I'm like, oh my God, it's like when you're going through your bookshelf and you find all your old books that you absolutely love and they're your favorites, and then you're sitting there reading them rather than cleaning the bookshelf. Part of me wants to buy the speed editor, but I need to actually start making VODs to justify it. Well, why not make it a goal that if you make, say 30 VODs by the end of the year, like say, well, where are we at? We're in January. If you make 25 VODs by the time the Black Friday sales come around, if it's a good deal, it might be worth it then. But, it's your call. You're the boss of you. One of these days I may make one of those emulators for NES and Super NES, etc. Yes. Yes. They are fun. They're so old. And I think that's why I like Stardew Valley, because it's got that same sort of feel to it. It's got like 80s gaming feel to it. So, yeah. And another game that I have to uninstall because I will just play. I'll just play one more day. I'll just play one more day. I'll just play one more day. Next thing you know, 9 hours later, oh my gosh, I got nothing done. Luckily, it was a Sunday. I don't really do much on Sundays. I sleep. Because Saturday night I'm up all night. I'm just checking things here. Sorry, as I said, I got sucked in. Right then. All right, lords and ladies of the interwebs, it is time to say goodbye. If you take one thing away from this stream, please go and learn another editing software. Please don't rely so heavily on one app or one platform. Have a backup. Have something that you're just barely good enough at, barely enough that you could muddle along if you need to. Amazing Yacht Destination says, I'm so happy I'm not the only one that gets lost in games. Yeah, I have to uninstall them. But yeah, make sure that you're not lining yourself up for failure and having your whole world crash and burn because of a decision made by someone else. Make sure that you're in charge of your success by being able to cross platforms, being able to cross softwares. Anyway, have a good one, and I will catch you all next week. Bye now. It's not going to change. Why is it not changing?